This is the fifth time that we've done the Western States Marijuana Summit. One of the things that came as a byproduct of COVID is that instead of doing this as a live presentation with people sitting in an audience, we went to a virtual, and it turned out to be a huge success. So that's why we're repeating the same format this go around. Director King kind of hit on some very important points. I think one thing that we need to consider here is that this is not the same marijuana we knew from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or even 5 to 10 years ago. Things have changed. And what we're going to try and do over the course of these next 2 days is share with you some information that I think is critical, that people need to understand that this is a new game. This is creating new problems, and potency is kind of the main character behind this. So the speakers that you're going to hear over the next 2 days are subject matter experts, not only locally, but nationally and internationally when it comes to marijuana, cannabis, cannabinoids, and the impact that it's having on public health and public safety. So with that, let me share a few things here with you real quick. Let me bring this up. One of the things that we learned over the years is that when we started to talk with people, we took for granted that everyone knew who everybody was, what they did, and what the relationships were. So here's kind of the first couple of takeaways. So the takeaways that we had from the 21 session were actually pretty clear to us. And this is one of the benefits that we have of traveling around the country, speaking with different people and speaking with folks. The three biggest takeaways we had were this. First off, what's a HIDA? People want to pronounce it HIDA. It's actually pronounced HIDA. And then what is the National Marijuana Initiative? There was actually some people that thought we were in favor of legalization and we're supporting the whole legalization movement. And the bottom line that most people want to know is, okay, that's great, we've got a HIDA, and that's great, we have a National Marijuana Initiative, but bottom line is, what can you do for me? Well, let me tell you straight up front. We're like the smart kids that you had in organic chemistry class or in your physics class that were willing to do your homework for you. People are really busy with their schedules, and we understand that. So we've dedicated ourselves to looking at good established research and then sharing those findings so that people have an understanding of what the impacts of today's marijuana and today's cannabinoid potency levels are doing to our society. So first off, let's start with what's a HIDA. So HIDA stands for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas Program. This is a program that originated out of the Executive Office of the White House, is funded through Congress. And the primary role of the HIDA program is to disrupt and dismantle drug trafficking organizations, not only domestically within the country, but also transnationally from outside the country, of bringing their drugs into our society and then trying to reduce the demand through physical enforcement through law. Now, the other part of the HIDA program where we fall into is the aspect of prevention. So we realize that we're not trying to influence people's decisions so much as a lobbyist would, but what we're trying to do is replace the misinformation and disinformation that comes out of things. Now, here's how you find us. We've got social media platforms on what used to be Twitter, now it's called X. The National Marijuana Initiative on Facebook and on Instagram. If you scan that QR code, that'll take you to our website. On that website, what you're going to find is a summary of really good recent current information. This is your resource for you. We've synopsized the information. We've got it there for you. It's yours to take. And as a byproduct of that, what we're also starting to do is load up presentation videos onto our website from our different subject matter experts. So to that end, these sessions are being recorded, and once we're getting trimmed down and edited, they will be posted up on the NMI website and for you to use as you see fit. It's good information. We want to share it with you. So that's the first premise of the National Marijuana Initiative. So who we are as a whole? Well, when we take a look at this, we have to understand that the concept of legalization has changed, and we've had to evolve with it. One of the things that we've evolved with is specifically with our website itself. So with the website, what you're going to find is a series of videos. You're going to find research information that's there for you to use. And what we're looking at is peer-reviewed, scientific-based information. What you're not going to find on the website, you're not going to find reefer madness. You're not going to find demon weed. If you smoke this, you're going to go blind type of stuff. There's so much misinformation. We have to replace it with good, solid stuff. And that's the purpose behind that. So we've got good information for you in terms of the website. We've synopsized, as I said before, the research that's out there. The good news is when people said, has anything ever good come out of legalization? I'll tell you yes. What's good to come out of it is that we're getting more research done on today's marijuana. The potency levels from a lot of the research that's out there, it's down in the 5, 7, 10% range. Well, that's not where we're at right now. The potency level that we have right now for THC and raw biomass and raw flower is upwards to 40% THC potency in raw flower. And from those raw potent flowers, that's where we're getting the highly potent concentrates. This is where we're getting the stuff that's a 60, 70, 80% potency level of THC, to the point now where the scientists, the botanists, and the agronomists have got together and they've learned how to isolate a component of THC called THCA, tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, and sell it as a standalone product. Bottom line with this is that THCA is being billed at 90 to 99% potency of THC. This is what our kids, this is what our young adults are initiating on. If you want it more of a guttural basis, THCA is to marijuana what crack was to cocaine, or what fentanyl and carfentanil are to opioids and narcotic analgesics. Okay, it's like instead of stealing that beer out of your dad's refrigerator in the garage when you're 16, it's like initiating on Everclear. The potency levels are just that high. So again, good information is coming out, that good research is coming out. We're posting that to our website. It's there for you to find. Also, we're looking at good state-specific information too. States that have legalized are trying to figure out, what do we do now? Now that we've legalized, what are the problems that we're going to have? A lot of people will say that we just don't have the data. Well, I would contend the opposite. My state is Colorado. We legalized this for medical purposes in 2000. We were the first state, by virtue of just a time zone, to go to a full commercial adult use. Not so much keen on the term recreation. Recreation for me is playing golf. This is not, getting couch locked is not recreation. So we've been dealing with this for 10 years, and we're getting some good data coming out of there. And what's scary is we're starting to see some trends coming out of it that don't bode well for public health, mental health, or public safety. And also, the other resource that we can bring toward you is this. We have a fabulous Speakers Bureau. In fact, you're going to hear from several of our Speakers Bureau members over the next 2 days. They are subject matter experts nationally and internationally. They have a wealth of information. And the great news is none of it is designed to be scare tactics. It's just facts. And then you make the decision what you do with there. All right. So in a nutshell, that's what we got for you. Now, a couple of things I want you to consider as we go through this. So for the next couple of days, understand who we are. We are federally funded through the HIDA program. We are a prevention initiative, and our purpose is pretty simple. We want to get good information in front of people so they can make an informed choice. Why is that critical? Because over the last 40 and 50 years, we've had so much misinformation and disinformation about marijuana. I don't think there's any one drug that's more confused in the public pharmacopoeia than marijuana. On one hand, it's good for you. You're a safer driver. It's not addictive. It's good. It's holistic approach to medicine. There's a lot of misinformation we're trying to replace. Another thing I want you to understand too, and this is critical, is that none of our speakers today are receiving a special financial compensation for doing this. They believe in this. This is the mission here. And why is that important? If you understand the messenger, you have a better understanding of the message. So when we provide this information to Senate groups, to Congress, to state legislators, to city councils, to prevention organizations, a lot of time you hear the same thing. How come we've never heard about these adverse effects of marijuana? Well, it depends on who you're listening to. So if someone's coming at you from a special interest group, that message may be modified slightly. So again, to understand the message, you have to understand the messenger. As we go through the information today, I would encourage you, take photographs. Again, you'll have options and access to this presentations later on, but take notes of what's going on. And I would tell you, look up research, be your own best advocate for getting good information. You have to be your advocate of doing this so that you get a good idea of not only the content, but also the context of the information that's being presented to you. Finally, it's a call to action here. If you learn something new, share it. All right. If you hear misinformation, correct it. But the trick is, can you get out of your own way? We all have an opinion about marijuana. Mine is based on 40 years of law enforcement. My partner Ed's got 40 years as well. And our opinions are not important here. What's important is your opinion and your thought process on it. But as we go through the next 2 days, and if you hear something that somebody says that you go, yeah, that person is spot on, or that person is full of it, I want you to stop for a second and step back a little bit and ask yourself, why do you feel that way? What's the basis of that information? Where are you forming that opinion out of? Is it based on good research? Is it based on recent research? Is it based on stuff you knew when you were a kid or stuff that you believed when you were a kid? So again, understanding the message and understanding the messenger is critical, but also understanding how you're perceiving these messages and why you feel that way is also just as critical. All right. So with that, I'm going to leave you with this. I want you to consider a couple of things. When we talk about the legalization of marijuana, are we really talking about legalization, or is it another thing? Are we really more talking about the legalization and the commercialization of THC as a drug that's being sold for profit? So when you hear some of the information, when you hear the stories, when you hear the information that our speakers are giving to you, I want you to think closely about what you see in the papers. Think about the advertisements that were leading up to legalization, how the benefits of legalization. So again, think about that as we proceed through here today. Finally, what I want to leave you with is Mark Twain. Both Ed and I really enjoy history. We've lived a long time, so we've had the privilege of seeing a lot of history. But Mark Twain really kind of summed it up. And I read this, and this really kind of, I think, so applicable to when it comes to marijuana and the misinformation that we've got. He said, what gets us into trouble is not what we don't know. It's just what we know for sure that just ain't so. And I think that's really applicable here when it comes to the information that's circulating even to this day about marijuana, legalization, the benefits of its use. And nobody really wants to talk about the health hazards and the risk hazards. We need to have those discussions. So finally, again, this is how you find us. These are our social media sites. Anytime that we post something new up onto our website, that will be pushed out on social media. And just a heads up on the social media, this is not going to be an active two-way engagement that you would normally expect to find on social media. What we'll do is we'll push out information. If the article looks interesting to you, tap on it. It'll take you to our website. You can read a synopsis. If you want a deeper dive, then you can actually read the actual research paper and report that's associated to. If it's not of interest to you, I don't know, swipe left and watch a cat video or something to that effect, all right? But again, that's our website. Our next session, let's see, we've got right now as just about 10 minutes to the hour. Please take advantage of the moment, go to the bathroom, go make that quick phone call, get a cup of coffee, but we'll start promptly at the top of the hour with Dr. Ronit Lev, who is just a wonderful person, and she has got a wealth of information to share with you. If you want to reach out to either myself or to Ed, these are our email addresses. You send us an email, we'll get back to you within about 24 to 36 hours, if we're on the road. But this is how you reach us. Again, I'm Dale Quigley. You'll meet my partner in crime, Ed Shamalia, here in just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2023 Western State Marijuana Summit. We'll start right at the top of the hour with Dr. Ronit Lev and an update on international policy. With that, thank you very much. We'll see you in 10 minutes.